So pretty much the biggest four nations are at war in Europe right now. That's Austria and Sweden and Great Britain and France. So I did obviously fix the crash that happened in the last video, and I actually got to push the campaign by about 4 or 3 turns. So yeah, these are big conflicts that are going on in Europe right now, probably among the 4 biggest powers. Austria is huge, the British are huge, France, not having that much control over continental Europe, but really expanding into northern France, and who knows how long they're going to keep that territory since they are at war with the Congo. But I'm really interested to see what's going to come out of the Swedish-Austrian conflict, because obviously Austria has no troops, no ships, in the Baltic Sea. So there's really no way for them to defend this without some sort of ranged unit. Defend, these 2 coastal cities. Sweden has a pretty good navy, as well as they can, travel across. They are embarking units across the Baltic Sea. So that will be kind of interesting to see how this plays out. We've got a peace deal between Denmark and China. Now Austria has a lot of troops and a lot of cannons, actually. So they will be able to defend themselves, I think, pretty well if they get their troops to the north. They've got to line this coast with all of those cannon units, and the AI is not the best at that, as well as Sweden's doing a good job of actually sending melee units across the Baltic Sea, and they're very close to taking over Berlin. I'm not sure, they're both vanilla civs, they're not modded civs, so they're going to be among the first 30 civs, but I don't know in particular which one can move first. If Sweden moves first, actually, you know what? Either way, no, actually, it would be really big if Sweden moves first, because they don't have to worry about the crossbowmen inside of Berlin. Ooh, it doesn't matter. Austria moved first. They will still technically be able to take Berlin if they wanted to. They might retreat here, though. They might retreat. Nope, they did not. Good job for Sweden, and they're landing even more troops. This is huge. We've got a Prussian war against Persia and Ethiopia, so no big conflict there. They'll be pretty safe right there. Chukchi have... yeah, that's right. Shanghai finally fell to the Chukchi, which means that we have our first border between... No, not yet. Not officially. There's going to be a race between Siam and Chukchi. I forgot about this middle Chinese city. Are there more things that are popping up? Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be pretty big because... depending on who takes this, again, I've been saying this for a while, Siam really needs to use the Chukchi's power here and maybe try to sneak into this Chinese city, although there is a river to the south, making it a little bit more difficult. And these elephants, these elephants really are kind of out of date at this point, I'm thinking. Maybe not so much. Maybe not so much. Like this little animation here. Really need to scroll in and look at the micro part of the game, I think, a little bit more. It's so easy to get lost in like the macro and all the things that are happening. But really kind of zooming in on some of the micro stuff is really interesting, because it really kind of shows how this world's like this big thriving planet. When you look at like each individual city, each individual unit, you've got all these ships along the coast, and this is just a very small, Maratha city, Maratha civilization that we're not really talking about that much. They might be one of the powers that come out of India, but it's actually looking more like Maurya is going to be the true Indian civ. They've got a lot of troops just south of the Himalayas. Chukchi have pieced out. Interesting. So you know what? Siam is going to have to do this work himself. But Siam is also distracted by his Tibet conflict. So, it's kind of up in the air right now. Kind of up in the air. Will Finland get involved now also, since... Obviously, Sweden is going to be pretty distracted with Austria. Will Finland decide, you know what, it's time to take out Sweden here? We've talked about it. I think it's been, something that I've discussed in the past. It seems like the Finnish have a bit more dominance, I guess you could say, over the Baltic Sea. Especially now, because Sweden is going to lose ships during this war. So, if Finland wants to, they could, although Finland's pretty distracted by a few different things. Obviously, there's Norway. Finland is distracted by Russia. Not so much Norway, even though they probably want to take out Norway at some point. Let's go and check on Babylon. Babylon, I believe, is still at in the middle of a big war with the Ottomans, trying to move through Persian territory. Once again, it's starting to shape up kind of like the last campaign, where Babylon and Persia somewhat working together here with open borders agreements and things like that. But, the Ottomans are holding on. They're holding strong. Okay, so Austria's going to go first. Congo haven't... You know what? France might technically survive at least the Siege of Troyes because it looks like there's less and less units here. Looks like the Congo are losing units really fast. Strange. Okay, so how are the British doing? The British are just trying to land, trying to travel across the English Channel and fortify Manchester. I'd be amazed if France is able to get out of these two big wars without losing anything. It is possible. It does seem like France is going to have a pretty big advantage with their musketeers over the British, who are just going to have musketmen at this point here. Obviously, their ship of the lines is going to keep them safe from... Well, I guess they'll be able to do some big damage in the English Channel. We'll see. Okay, so we've got the Ashanti. The Congo took a Greek city away. Which Greek city was that? Okay. I saw it for a second there. The Ashanti also took this city away from the Nigerians. That war is still going on in the in sub-Saharan Africa. It's probably right in front of my face, and I'm totally missing it. I swear it was from Alexander, though. Oh, is it to the south? Didn't he? Yeah, there it is. I thought that Greece had that stupid little colony in South Africa, and I was like, oh, that's right. They did that. That's what happens. That's what happens when you do that. Congo going to be pretty upset now. Yeah, so obviously huge conflicts, and we haven't even started looking at North and South America. Obviously, these big settlements are still going on. We saw from the minimap at the end of that last video, we've got the Japanese settling. You know, we knew about Kazakhstan. Chukchi still have not settled. They might be going for, you know, kind of the B.A.Start miracle city. I guess not miracle, but it's just been we've always joked around about it. The AI for some reason loves Florida, and my guess is that it's because of Disney World. They want to settle Disney World, especially since Kazakhstan already has Disneyland. I think it's kind of close. It's either a Kazakhstan Disneyland or a Japanese Disneyland. It's somewhere along that region. Chukchi want Disney World. Being from California, I'm a little bit biased, which one I think is a little bit better, but you know, it's fine, it's okay. We've got the Shanu here as well, who I think are going to be, if they can find an open borders, if they can find a friendly member to their west to keep open borders with the entire game, then I think the Shanu will definitely still give the Chukchi a run for their money in terms of colonization of North America, North and South America. But you know, South America is going to be a little bit more. South America is going to be a little bit different here. And if the Europeans decide to go to South America, like we're seeing the British do, I think they'd have a lot more luck in that sense. Also, this is going to be so much science. You get up that university, these jungles are going to be producing so much science yield. So we'll see if the British decide to continue off towards South America. It seems like, you know, there's a huge navy that the British control that's kind of moving down towards that region. Liverpool here in Newfoundland as well, but obviously this I mean, I don't want to call it a complete waste because those are tons of crab resources. They actually can get an additional crab resource. The pearls are technically in range, aren't they? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I believe these pearls are technically in range. So I guess it's not a bad location if they get up a lighthouse. If they get up, you know, a couple of those sea wonders, sea buildings to improve sea tiles. I don't know if they have the Pantheon, that Pantheon that allows them, what is it? Extra food yield for fish resources? Well, there's no fish, Drew. It's just crabs. Come on, Drew. Papal State, the Pope plans on looking, it looks like he might be going for either the Caribbean. I mean, he's kind of angled more towards, he might be going for South America as well. All right, let's go check on the wars once again. So obviously the Austrians are going to want to take back Berlin. They're not going to want to just let Sweden have the city. So I think that we're going to see a big kind of war to grab Berlin back. And then we're going to see, obviously, the Swedish focusing in on this 11 population city. Thing is, Berlin has already exchanged hands multiple times. So we don't know if... this isn't really that big of a deal, right? I mean, losing Berlin wasn't a huge deal. It wasn't a core Austrian city for them. I mean, it's already at 1 population after being captured 1 time. Losing a city with 11 pop, or losing a city with 7 pop, a little bit more of an impact. Turns, you know, 230. It's gonna have, I think, a bigger impact on the game. I think. we've got a peace deal between Tibet and the Sumer. A lot more denouncements continuing to flood our way, and that's just what we're going to see throughout the remaining part of this campaign. People are just not going to like each other. One thing that I did talk about, and I don't know, actually a few videos ago, or maybe the last video, not sure, we do finally have access to the culture map, the culture tab. I guess I should say the ideology tab, but you can see a lot in that whole window, and it was really unfortunate to not have access to that in the last campaign. Like, that really sucked. So we couldn't really check on the ideologies of the world. It's going to be even more crucial that we have access to it now, since there are a lot more civs that are going to remain in the world. There's going to be a lot more civs by the end of this game. I don't think, and it's funny because when I was selling this campaign to you guys at the end of the last series, I was saying, I believe I remember myself saying, like, oh, we're going to see so many, I think a bunch of rolled over, a bunch of civs kind of snowball by the end, and we're only going to see like a handful of civs, big civs. It actually turned out to be the opposite. Even though we're playing on Immortal difficulty, I think the mountains have made a big difference. I think also, you know what I think is, and I haven't really talked about it that much, but I think the other thing that's making a big difference is the fact that so many civs have started off so close to each other that no one's able to get going too fast. It's kind of a different scenario when you talk about Central Asia and Siberia and things like that. I probably shouldn't have clicked that button while we are still processing for Moria here. But, yeah, so I think that's part of it. People never really got to get going as they did in the Emperor campaign, in the previous campaign. Yep, Drew might have done goof there by pressing this button while the turn was processing. Well, we don't even know if we have access. I mean, the last time I checked, we had access to it, but that could be changed. Could be a little bit different now. Well, nonetheless, looks like I'm going to have to end this video a little bit early. I'll give it like 30 more seconds and we'll see what happens, but Drew done goofed. My apologies. Should not have clicked that button. I do want to check on any more settlers, though. Any more final settlers. Is there anybody? What's going on? You guys come across the Pacific? Yes, the Japanese are sending one. We already knew that I think we knew about that one. Japanese look like they're definitely en route to exploring a lot more of the... oh, there we go. Okay, Drew, don't do that again. Everyone's screaming, Drew, don't do that! Let me just close this. Well, actually, yeah, I probably should. Let's just close this. Hey, Nigeria captured that back. Good for them. Good for Nigeria. All right, well, let's see if they can hold on to that. Seems like Nigeria is holding out. I believe that Nigeria is only at war with the Ashanti. They were at war with who? The Congo before, or was it Benin? Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think they pieced out with everybody else, and they're strictly at war with the Ashanti. And I do think that if the Ashanti are... Okay, the Ashanti for sure have deep-sea sailing, but... And you guys would probably be able to answer this. I'm not 100%, but I don't know if the Ashanti know about Brazil, know about modern-day Brazil, know about the continent of South America. If they do, which it could be likely, or they could be going for this island, either one, this settler might be really interesting, especially if it heads off towards this coast here. We'll be able to tell within this turn kind of like where that guy is geared towards, since, like I've said before, earlier in this campaign, when the British decided to settle in Siberia, there's only one spot that the AIs track to. When they send out a settler like that, it's destined for one spot. It doesn't matter anything else. The only thing I could think of changing the AI's mind is if that spot is taken. If by the time they're traveling over there and the spot is taken, I have seen AIs usually, I guess, reprogram itself to go after someplace else. Let's see what's going on in Europe. That's where the big conflicts are going on. Continental Europe it's kind of a continental war. I guess we could kind of say that. Four, like I said, the four of the biggest powers in Europe are at war with each other. France, Great Britain, Austria, and Sweden. Two separate wars, of course, but still pretty interesting. Scotland could also take advantage of the fact that the British are losing so many troops. And look at the Scottish. All of these military units with nothing to do. Birmingham, and I always, just go ahead and slap me, my English viewers or British viewers. I continue to go back and forth with the pronunciation of this. I think it's because I kind of got a mixed response, where some people were like, yeah, it's like Birmingham, from Alabama, but then I'm like, no, that's not it. I think it is Birmingham. I'm just gonna completely ignore the last 2 minutes. If you're British, I apologize. I'm never gonna learn. Drew, you're never gonna learn. It's the memory. It's the lack of memory here. All right, so Austria didn't take Berlin back, but it looks like they will very soon. They'll probably take it back next turn. Again, one population city though, not gonna make the biggest difference in the world. That's the thing that I'm thinking. Not gonna make a huge impact either way. So we'll have to wait and see about that one. I don't know. Moria, are you involved in a war? You are. That's also why you might be taking a little bit longer here. Is that Moria is at war? Remember, Moria and Siam teaming up against Tibet. Obviously, that's going to be really difficult because Tibet has mountains that are protecting them even more. I mean, if Tibet was able to survive in the last campaign without any mountains, then yeah, they're going to be pretty safe this time around. We've got, okay, so wait a second. Russia, and it's actually Benin that's the interesting one, joining that Carthage. Oh, Carthage is pretty safe. Carthage only stuck with their capital. It's going to be a coastal civ along the Mediterranean that's going to take out Carthage, if anything. Yeah, definitely, if anything. Let's talk about the Siamese building up this wonder. We've got Chola versus China. The Egyptians still trying to attack and take Mecca, which would be huge. Getting into the Arabian Peninsula for Egypt would be a pretty big deal. Although Egypt really not looking the best. I mean, yeah, Thebes, an excellent populated city. But how well is that city going to be defended? We've seen Thebes fall multiple times in these AI-only battles. Really easy for an AI to take over Thebes. Problem is, like I said, there's no consolidation that's going on. The only place is somewhat Central Asia. And even then, not really, since even the Sioux are kind of divided. I'm sorry, not the Sioux. The Shanu are kind of divided. The colors are the same, and they both begin with S's, so, forgive me. Forgive me. But, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Okay. The Maratha are also going to lose this city to the Shanu. That's something that I am not expecting. Some of these wars that are taking place that seem initially like they've got capitals far away from each other might not necessarily be the case, especially as we continue onward. Whoever decides to settle the New World. Again, Chukchi going towards Florida. They might not. It might not be for, boom, yeah, so Berlin was captured back by Austria. It might not be for Disney World. It could be for the Caribbean. I think that the Chukchi have almost discovered all of this region. Oh, the Ashanti. Did they move yet? I don't know. That's interesting. Sometimes the AI waits like that. We've seen settlers just chill and not move because they're still trying to figure out where they're going to send this guy to. So that could be the case. It's just so strange to me that you would think the Ashanti would be these just amazing colonizers. Part of the problem is that only their capital is coastal. And this city too, which they stole from Carthage, which is now annexed, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, guys, looks like I'm going to have to stop right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got a new war between the Mughals and the Umayyad, as well as Byzantium and Umayyad. No, nothing will come out of that situation. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.